Hey, look, there's my crotch. Hey, look. Neat. Look, my crotch. My crotch, it has two corners. Two corners has my crotch. Had it. Hey, everybody. It's the Dusty DM. I told you this week would be a paint video. So let's do a paint video of this fella. Oh, yeah. This is the Bone Tomahawk from wizkids. Well, it's a skeletal golem. It's a body golem-ish thingy. It's a fascinating mini that Hannah got me. If you happen to share this hobby with your partner, definitely go to the comic shop and pick a certain amount of money to spend on each other in minis, and then see if you buy ones that for each other that your partner would like. It's a fun little adventure. Totally romantic. Promise. Super romantic. It was really sweet, actually. And I picked out everything that I liked, including one of the My Little Ponies that I really want to paint. They seem like a super, super fun exercise in airbrushing, in highlighting stuff. Maybe I like My Little Pony. Just a little bit. Not enough. Not enough to care about the show. Just enough to own a mini. Now that we've gotten that out of the way. So, today, I want to talk about what everyone calls glazing. Now, I say that in a weird manner because I don't particularly find it to be glazing. I find it to be the terminology I would have used would stick to is hue. But this guy here, I'd say I'm trying to get across the point that I airbrushed the life out of him with a single color that kept lightening up as a sort of object source lighting method, where his spine is a lot brighter than his arms are in this like glowing, gross greenness that he's got going on. So what everybody calls glazing is legitimately the thinnest paint you could think of in layers, so that your former layers, your base layers, are sticking through and shining through and changing the value of the color that is showing through the finished product. I would call it hueing or tinting, but I don't want to confuse the shit out of everybody. Okay? But I've given him this odd scheme where he's brighter in the center. You can tell a little bit better on the back that he's a magical thing. A very magical thing. I look like I'm on fire. Why? There we go. He is indeed a magical entity. So I'm gonna reach over here, Admiral Brush Cup. Give me a mouth brush. He's the after effect of a magic spell of bringing a mound of flesh and bone to life. So he should have a magical hue to him. Duh. And in these parts here, we're gonna go through. I'm gonna start with Auburn Shadow. I have two cameras going, so maybe it'll translate well. All right, so I have Auburn Shadow here, which is a reddened brown. It's a cherry red to me. It's okay. Brown's one of the colors that I cannot see correctly at all. So it's kind of fantastic that I work with it. That's why I work with colors that I can't see. It's the only way to get better at them. All right, so we're gonna start with some Auburn red. Now this is what I do personally for thinning my paints for a thin painting like this. This is open thinner from Golden mixed with their liquid matte medium. And it's 2 parts matte medium to 1 part open thinner. The thinner is not liquid. The thinner is not like water. You can see it here. The matte medium helps it dry. The thinner helps spread it. It's a fantastic little mix that I've worked up and found to enjoy. So enjoy staring at my crotch for the next 20 minutes or so while we go through this. You're going okay. Yes, I know. Use a dead brush to mix. Gonna get in your fair rule. It's okay. You've seen Admiral Brush Cup. He's stacked to the fucking 9s. So, all right. So, I'm gonna brush that off real quick. Get in here with him. What you working on, sugar?
I'm making a chubby little demon.
Ooh, cute. Sounds like fun. Okay, so the thing with glazing, the biggest part of the glazing technique is to, with these thin paints, make sure that your brush is not overloaded. Okay, not to the dry brush point, but not to the point where it is just bleeding paint. Okay, and we're gonna get paint everywhere on this. So this auburn shadow is for working on the more fleshy parts of this fella. Yeah, and I was gonna say there's so much airbrushing. There's so many layers of paint that I airbrushed onto him that it started to crack in here, even with varnishing. So it's okay that I'm getting it on the bone in there, because I was say I'm gonna load it up right on my. I'll load that up right on my thumb, the heel of my thumb right there. And it's okay that it's cracked and all that fun stuff. He's a weirdo table mini that might appear at some point. Who knows? So I'm not shooting for award winner here. Just exploring technique. That's all. I like to do that. Take some of the excess off of my hand. I'm gonna keep remembering to do that. I'll keep remembering to forget that I have a big wet lump of paint on the heel of my thumb, and I can just grab it from there next time I need to load my brush up. Okay. So I come in here, got these tunnels like got these through ports through the body, which are great. So, okay. That's a good way to get that brush emptied out. Yeah. The last thing that I painted onto this guy or the last thing that I airbrushed onto him was yet another layer of matte varnish. So you see that through the airbrush, so that I'd have a new surface to work with without reactivating old layers of paint. Always do that if you're gonna mix your techniques of brush and airbrush. If you're gonna finish with the hand brush, make sure you throw on a single layer of, like, I use the Vallejo Mech something or the other, whatever it is, and throw it across them real quick, just so that I have a new, more stable layer to work with. And there we go. Yeah, now it's showing through. I rearranged the lights here in the, I don't want to call it a dungeon, it's a fucking living room. If you haven't noticed, I have not put up a protest video against the new child standards for YouTube, where content is not ever going to be shown to anybody unless you subscribe and hit the bell. Do it or don't, whatever. I have not put up a video because I'm not child friendly. This is not child friendly content. Sorry. It's just, I'm a human. I like to do this as a hobby. It's not a prescient topic for me to even care about, honestly. I don't get to click that special bell or that special setting when I upload videos, and it doesn't affect me any. I promise. So, I mean, other guys, DM Scotty, Black Magic Craft, Wylock's Armory, and other big channels that are involved with the hobby and painting are having trouble with it. And I probably agree with their opinion a lot. I probably agree with everything that they do, because they should be able to make a livable wage off of just YouTube, like we used to back in, like people used to back in the day. But now I realize that, you know, Patreon kind of runs the world, and that's a fun thing too. But also, like, I don't want anybody to be restricted in everything they do. It's real annoying. That's why we have the internet, you know? We had the internet to fight the FCC. Now restrictions and everything are coming in. You know what? Yeah. Sign some fucking whatever those are. Whatever that list is that they stand outside of Trader Joe's and try to convince you to sign.
Like a petition?
That's it. Yeah, whatever petitions you can find to stop the new regulations on YouTube. Yeah, you fucking stand. Yeah, let's all stand against those regulations. It is real annoying, but also, like, not extremely particular to me, but particular to other folks that are friendly, child friendly. They're family friendly shows, family friendly content. DM Scotty, he makes stuff out of toilet paper. I've never heard that man curse in my entire life, and I doubt that I ever will. He's a lovely human being. DM Scotty, if you're out there, thank you for following me on Instagram that one time. It is great. That was a really big day for me, actually. You're one of my favorite humans. I hope you're doing well. You're not too far from me, actually. And hope you're doing okay and all that fun stuff. So, anyway, and if you're not already subscribed to him, go subscribe. There's so many other channels out there that are not me doing awesome stuff. So, hang out with me and them. Me and them. I'm not saying run from me. Anyway, so you can see that in here with this mixed paint, the puddle that's in my dry well down here, this is a heavy flow. This is a super heavy flow form of paint, so it's not like I'm gonna do this on my wet palette. I'm doing it on my dry palette, which is actually a really nice one too. If you have an AC more close to you, get one. Get one now. They're all going out of business or something. Go save on them. If you have an AC more that's close to you, if you have not bought an airbrush yet, if they have them in stock, it's 25% off right now. Wait another week or two. It's still going to be cheap. It will still end up being cheaper than buying it off of Amazon. You get to buy it in person, which is one of those weird delights that nobody gets to experience anymore. Pick yourself up a Renegade or a Patriot from Badger. They sell both of them. I got my Patriot. The Patriot that I bought ended up being $70, I think. $80 with their coupons back when they were still a store, not just a going out of business sadness. But getting a Patriot for $80 in person, lovely, and totally worth it. The Patriot was great. The Patriot's great. I have a Patriot and a Chrome. I like the Chrome a lot. It's excellent for fine stuff. So we've got this weird thing that kind of reminds me of Nemesis from Resident Evil 2. But you see here, if we get real up in there with it, you see, touch my phone, see if it does the thing. Don't worry, I say phone and you think, that's ridiculous. No. iPhone 11 Pro Max, 4K front-facing camera. Yeah, I know. It wasn't worth buying a second GoPro when I can make calls on this thing. Yeah, so we got this stuff going on here. See how we can see the value changing is still in everything. That paint is so thin that when it dries, it's going to dry here shortly because of the matte medium. But when it dries, it's going to show through all that change, all that different light change that I put as the base layer. And that's what people talk about. That's what people mean when they say glazing, I think. I don't know. We're all learning this on the internet, and it's real weird, guys. I used to have Comic Store West had one of their house painters that used to do the rack stuff. I forget his name back when I was a kid, but we used to have Fridays to go hang out with him and learn how to paint in shop. And that was like before many painting techniques even mattered or existed. Those are good days. Just an FYI. So in here, we're gonna. So that's the first layer of that, and this paint in my palette is still good and pliable, ready to keep moving with it. We're not losing. It's not just drying out. Looking real good in that big old lump. All right. Anybody remember the presidency of the United States of America? She's lump. She's lump. She's lump. She's in my head. Yeah. So we're gonna come back through with the second pass in some areas, not in all of them. In the spots on this mini, I'm hiding out in the corner of the couch bed thing that I built, and that's where I like to work. I actually really like to sit out here and work, and Hannah's with me, so I'm finally giving her free reign to laugh at all the dumb jokes that I make.
Yay.
Yeah, it's okay if you make noise. I don't care. Okay. I don't care one bit. But just can't watch the X-Files while I paint and record because they'd give me a real hard time about it. So the spots where I want to add depth, right in here. Okay. So like in between these ribs on the back, yeah, I'm gonna throw a second layer through them just because I want to give the illusion of death. I almost said allusion, that I'm not alluding to anything. I'm illusion. I'm messing with perception here. So here we're gonna hit it, second one, so that it gives it more body, pretty much with the second layer. It's just a 3D. That's just a 3D technique. It's like a painting on not a canvas technique that helps. You see the difference, but we're still shining. We still got that base layer shining through. And guys, I'm just so happy about this base layer. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's so. I'm so happy with that. And yeah, I was gonna say, and it is kind of the most half-assed OSL that you'll ever run into in your life. Object source lighting is extremely difficult. It is difficult to perform. It is difficult to master, and once you do, it is exceptionally hard to convey in a teaching manner. Even some of my favorite painters have an issue conveying the idea of OSL, and the only way that I could even, I'm gonna go in through these little weird pits and stuff, and just we're gonna googe that on there. We're just gonna throw that right in these holes so it darkens up in the spots where it would be dark. Yeah. Anyway, so with OSL, it is one of those techniques. It's lovely once you figure it out. It's easiest with an airbrush, and it's easier on a larger plane for sure. No joke. It's always going to be easier if you learn it on something large. Henceforth, My Little Pony minis from WizKids. They are good for that kind of technique. It's taking a single color and reducing the coverage at its farthest points and then increasing in a center. So you take this, so you think of a sphere like the hind quarter of a horse, just for the sake of example, the ass end of a horse, right? You would paint it in one color. You would pick that color, it'd be a chocolate brown, and to get the lighting to look different with an airbrush, you would leave it real light on the outer edges of a sphere that you're painting onto the horse, and then in the very center, that's where your highest concentration of paint would be, and it would look like the lighting is changing with it. And that's what object source lighting is, but it's extremely difficult because I've just confused myself. I actually confused myself while giving the example. So, I mean, never expect me to ever teach anybody that technique or even attempt to, because it's just rough. But it is a whole lot easier on a piece of paper. Do it on a piece of paper first. Do it on a, like learning how to tattoo. You start on an apple, not on a human. Do it on something other than a mini and figure out how to translate. And once you do it on something that's not a mini, technique will be easily transferred to miniature painting. That's one of those things. All right. So we're going to move on to boning your mom. Bone color. Let's see. Creamy. Something creamy. Something.
Just like your mom.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. Okay. So, all right. Your mom jokes, they exist. They're great.
We'll fix it in post.
I'm not gonna fix anything. Nothing's broken. Okay, we're gonna take his Terran khaki. Okay. All right. So, this guy's made up of a bunch of heads. Whole bunch of heads, right? All right. You got Terran khaki, which means earth khaki. It's one less. All right. So I'm going to take, I've got a diluted pot here. I've got a diluted pot here ready to become layered, or ready to become this glazed on these skulls. But here I've got undiluted. Why? Oh my God, for shame, 'tis a sin. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here, and you see it right in here. We're gonna just bloop that right there, bloop, 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 bloop. So on the outside rounds, the outside spheres of these skulls, I'm actually gonna take and leave some undiluted paint, just a little bit. All right, and then I'll come back through. I dab that right off of my finger. All right, what that's gonna do is that's gonna help it. Actually, let me dilute this just a touch, like a literal dot worth of dilution. All right, what that's gonna do is that when you're running thin paint onto a spherical object, a bicep, a calf, a thigh, onto a rippling back of some beautiful, beautiful warrior man or princess like a Xena, you get into this lawless territory of just realizing that thin paints are never going to hold at the high peaks of the sphere. They're never going to layer up on the top of the skull the way that you want them to. So we're going to come through with this unblended, this unmixed Terran khaki, and then hit most of these skulls. Because, oh my God, this is a lot of skulls. What was this, made by Games Workshop? Good Lord. It's a lot of skulls, man. Nothing but skulls. Alright, so we're gonna hit these skulls right here, right in here, because when we come back through with the thinned out glaze, it's not gonna hang up there. it's not going to spread. It'll spread. It disperses. And when it disperses, you're going to have a spot that just looks like it's not even painted. It's going to look like it hasn't stuck at all. It's going to look off to you. So you take the undiluted paint and you throw it in that high peak just to fight it well ahead of time. Just boop, it's done. Boop, it's done. Okay, and then when you come through, it's all gonna get blended in there together. It's gonna look great. And this khaki, the whatever green vomit color that I have as the base, it shines right through it. That looks good. That's good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That looks dope.
I'm real happy with it. Too much. I am certainly very happy with it. Thank you, babe. I appreciate your positivity because you are a skilled and educated painter. And I am just a lummox from a poor family. Oompa loompa. That doesn't even make sense. Okay, so we got that khaki in there. Wacky khaki, doing all its stuff. Doing all its fun. All right. Okay, so now that we have that, then it's got a value set there that when I mix up this ridiculous wet khaki that I'm about to have, wet khaki, sounds like some kind of awkward sex party that Stanley Kubrick would make a movie about. All right, so we're gonna take this khaki, and it's gonna be so thin. Look at that! Oh yeah! Look at that! I can see the bottom of my paint wall every time I run my brush through. I can see clean white plastic underneath. That is good. That is exactly the kind of glaze that you want. For those of us who don't use GW pots because we want to learn how to paint, not just learn how to buy stuff. Oh, sorry. Did that come out of my mouth? My bad. Tee-hee. Throw in glaze. Because there's no difference between a glaze and a shade. They're the same goddamn technique. Pardon my language. All right, so we're gonna come through here. All right, so we're looking at this guy. Look at that, yeah, look at that. It's as Caucasian as it gets. It matches up with my hand. That's pretty intensely white. So we're gonna go in through here and just start layering in, and we're gonna let it dry, and I come back, cause yeah, with this base layer being this green, it's just gonna, it's mostly gonna disappear when it dries, which to me is hilarious that that's even a thing. Like, oh, why am I doing it then? You'll see why in the end. But look, so we got this going on. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Do some awkward ASMR painting. Yes. Then you're going to walk to the rack and you're going to get a base, a shade, a glaze, a highlight, a contrast layer, and you're going to take it home and you're going to follow the order until you're set. You're not going to feel creative, but you will feel accomplished. You're not going to feel satisfied in your soul, but you will feel a light spot in your wallet. If I do it with a British accent, do you think they'd flag the video? Goddamn Games Workshop. Sorry. Anyway, so we're coming through these skulls. You can see the wetness, bringing that wetness in there. That's how I know that I painted that spot. I'm 3-cone colorblind. I'm colorblind in every cone that the human eye can see. It makes it real wacky to do fun stuff like this. So yeah, the wetness is how I know that I've gone through it, because these colors are pretty darn close. Okay. So up in here, All right, got the legs. They're behemoth-like. All right, so up in here, we're gonna go right up in there. We don't want to drain the brush hairs to the point where we're letting it overrun the auburn shadow that we put on. Paint's courtesy of my job and paying out the ass for them. Here we go. Yeah. So we don't want to let our brush load up too much that it starts to leak out onto that auburn shadow, because then that's an issue. But we don't need to be hyper careful when we're in here. And any spots that I came across these back ribs and had auburn shadow come up, yep, see, it darkens it up. That's fine with me. One day I'll make a video about additive and subtractive color mixing, and you'll be just as bored of it as I am. It'll be great. But it's the way to add pigment. It's the way to add mix paint. Instead of getting light and dark with white and black, it's mixing with the cyan, magenta, and black and yellow, but a very specific yellow. I forget which one it is. That it adds intensity instead of just adds or subtracts intensity instead of just mixing it with black and white, which muddies and uglies up some of these colors. But these two guys, they seem to be mixing pretty well. They're pretty colors. They're pretty fellas. Pretty little fellas. So here we go. All right. Yeah. I was gonna say, and don't mind me. I'm sitting in a house that's filled full of GW minis. I got them everywhere. I love their minis so much, but I've just not enjoyed their paint line as much. I've enjoyed learning more about painting technique than I have learning about paint products. Over the years, I find I like learning more about painting and going to the Philly Art Museum and feeling inspired and touching 300-year-old boxes that my body gravy will slowly destroy over time. Yeah, I like doing that. Run my finger across the most beautiful furniture you've ever seen in your entire life. Just because I can. It's worth it. It makes going to the museums so much fun. I'm going to touch everything. Come in here and touch everything and make fun of sculptures that look like dicks. That's what they're there for. They're just never going to be big enough for me or your mom. I know. This video brought to you by that really good "That's What She Said" joke that I made in the Starbucks drive-thru that went unappreciated. She did not giggle over the intercom. It was very disappointing.
I giggled.
You did, and yes, that was great. Just hang on a second while I put this in here. And I said, "That's what she said." I did not get a response through the intercom. I know that they can hear the sound of a butterfly fart from 100 yards because they're just set so wrong. The gain is so damn high on those things that you can hear the trucks in 4 states away fucking honk a horn. Yeah, I know you didn't. I know you heard that joke. I'm just impressed, lady at the window, that you didn't giggle at it. Very, very bothersome. Oh my God, I'm getting combative over a fucking "that's what she said" joke. Good Lord, John.
I get so mad when you don't laugh at the jokes.
I know. Alright, so we're gonna come in here, get the crotch skeleton, get him done in there. And I'm gonna leave these, see these awkward spots under the ribs and stuff that they're still yellow. I'm gonna leave them I will leave them as they are, just because they're a magic effect. They're a magic effect, you silly goose. Why would I worry? Alright, so there we go. Yeah. Now the one thing with glazing, guys, is that it's not good for your diet once you glaze a guy. This just sugar content just goes way too high. Shouldn't eat them. The one thing with glazing is there's one thing to it that is very hard to fight, which is this. This might be an overall painting problem that most people have that want to paint are going to have. You want to be you want that soothing, beautiful, I'm going to lay this down and it's going to be the most smooth, gorgeous brushstroke I've ever made in my entire life. Sorry, my fiance's ass distracted me. But the thing with glazing is that it's not sometimes first coat. If you got it too thin, if you got it too thick, it doesn't matter if you do, but it's not going to have that buttery, smooth, beautiful studio look to it. It's going to have brush strokes. It's okay. That's what the second layer is for. You're going to come back through and it's going to be so thin that it's going to even out and it's going to look good to the eye. You have to get over that small mental hurdle of, I want it to be perfect the first time I pick up the brush. I want it to be perfect the first time I run the brush across it. That's not how it's going to be. And if you want to work with this technique and you want to deep dive into this technique, you're going to have to accept the fact that you're going to have shortcomings in your areas that you're brushing onto. You're going to have shortcomings in brush strokes. And all you have to do is just come back through. Do it again. Like Sam Len says, if you like it, do it again. If you like the way it looks, do it again. Do it again. Layer it up. Theartoflens.com. He's one of my favorite mini painters, you guys. Not to advertise everybody for free, but whatever. I don't mind. All right, so we're gonna come back through. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's got that net. That's got that. It's exactly the way I wanted it to end up. Okay. Here, grab a little clean brushy here. A little bit of a clean brush, and come back into here. I'm actually gonna grab some of this undiluted paint and stretch it out a good amount, just so I can come up into here, into this fella, into these guys, and actually overpower just a little bit towards the outer edges, and overpower some of the red that I got in there, or that auburn in there. And you'll see once it dries what that's for. But you see already that in here where we're drying up, where this Terran khaki layer dries, it's still showing that yellowy vomit through it, and it's just exactly what I want. Oh my gosh, it's exactly how I want it. I'm holding them upside down for a reason. Here, I put a little too much on. If I hold them upside down, this is a very viscous paint. It's very viscous, and I can come back in and dry my brush off just enough to get the glob out. Yeah. Here we go. Get the glob out in time. And now we're gonna come back down into here. Yeah. Oh yeah. But that's the biggest thing is meow. Is taking the time to gain experience with the technique before you try to add a technique to your arsenal and then just fight a mini for 1,000 hours for a finished product. Just fight to learn the technique for a little while. Just figure that one out for a bit. Okay. So, there we go. Yeah. You see in here, it's looking good. And I'm going to come back through. I'm going to take that off of there. Yeah. But you see down here, see down on the bottom of that skull, like, yeah, it doesn't pull quite like you think it will. Just gonna cause things. It's gonna cause stress, anxiety, and wondering. We can fight that instead of by just showing you exactly what's going on. In here, we're gonna, yeah, these weird black spots that were there where the varnish had cracked again. I wouldn't worry about it because it's gonna get full. It's gonna get filled and it's gonna look good. Okay. Not gonna super worry about doing that because we're gonna come back through and black wash this. Yeah, actually I might brown wash it. I think I might brown wash it just because I feel like a brown wash would look a lot better on this than a straight black. Black might look a little something. I'm not even sure how to explain that right this second, but I feel like black might overpower it, make it look a little too stock standard. So I might brown wash it and see how that goes. A real light brown wash. Okay. So there we've got them. Come back after that dries and see what we got going on. Change some light up so we can give him a real good overview. Come back here. I'm out of here, but for now I am actually out of here. I'm gonna go do something else while this guy dries, and we'll see what's up afterward. Cool. Ooh. Okay. So, yeah. There might be a little bit of musical interlude there. I started while X-Files was still on. So, I might just have to cover it up. Trying to get the lighting right too so that I stop looking like a baked coconut. Alright, so came back. I mixed a little bit of vampiric highlight into the Terran khaki because I had him, after it had dried, it just didn't have enough contrast to it. So the skulls kind of looked bland, I guess, is the best way to put it. But there just wasn't enough between the lime, nasty, toxic yellow and that like greenish yellow and the auburn highlight. It just didn't appeal to my eye, so that's why I made this extra color here. Got him going. Just gonna go in there nice and light. We're not worried about slamming stuff on there again. I'm gonna get in there. And this is more of a. This is gonna dry real clear. It'll mute itself down really heavily, and almost dissipate at some point. But it's okay. We're gonna throw it on there, and then give that a second to dry. Just in the high spots, in the spots that would actually have a little lighterness to them. Makes the eyes stand out a little better on the skulls, the eye cavities, all that fun stuff. Eye cavities. No, I'm worried about the zoom. I just want you to focus, not give me a weird lighting thingy. That'd be cool. Damnable iPhone. Yeah. Alright. You were fine where you were. You didn't have to move. Please don't move. I like it when you're next to me.
Moved with purpose.
Oh, okay.
So we get things.
Things.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that mixed vampiric highlight and Terran khaki, I'm a lot happier with it. I often don't like to mix with a pure white, straight white, either from when it's straight white, just pure white, mixing it tends to like pinkify things. It's too drastic. So the vampiric highlight has a slight off whiteness to it, almost probably the same base as the Terran khaki, which is why it mixed out so well. So here we're gonna go into here. I'm just gonna dot it. Yeah. It's just a little light dry brush. Yeah. Up here on the face. Oh yeah, gonna get on that face. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do voiceover for the part. I'm just gonna throw some music in. Sorry folks, or I'll just pick it up when the episode ended. It was a weird one. All about technology. It's scary. Old man Mulder, terrified of drones and stuff. Good stuff. Robots are coming. Robots are gonna come and they're gonna kill us all in the near future or something. No. Robots. Robert Klein. Robert Redford. Where did we start calling some? We called something Robert Redford. I just forget what it was or why. There we go. So I like the Army Painter monster brush. If I get the tip loaded up, so the body is still a little empty. If I overdo it with a little spot or two of paint, I can just come in and use the length of the bristles to yank some of that paint up before it dries. Till it tacks. Not even dry, I was gonna say. Till it tacks up, and once it's sticky, tacky, that's when you get rips. You end up with you've done it before. Accidentally put your finger on a mini and it sticks to your finger and you yank it up and it's pulling, small areas of paint up with it. But yeah, so this long tip brush, I can get in there real nice and neat. Be a lot happier with the end result than I was just a few minutes ago when I sat down to pick this back up. Okay. Robert Klein. Yeah, what were we calling Robot Redford?
Maybe the car?
I don't know. Something weird in the neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Robert Redford. Robot Rock. Something behind my head that you need?
Not sure.
And up here. Again, just to make these really stand out. Make them stand out real nice. And I know some people have said I don't use enough brush. I don't use enough different brush heads to paint with, but you know what? I really love this brush. Yeah, my bad. Got him right there. It's alright. It's thin spot. Wiped it right up. Yeah, I'm not sure why I like this. I think this monster brush is probably like a 2. Probably like a 2.0 in any other brand. It has a nice point though. I like it. Nice point, easy to maneuver. Fun shit. Super fun to work with. Doodle-doo-doo-doo-doo. And I'll run across the edge of his back. Pick out some more detail on this skull here. These are pure skulls. Okay. I try to avoid messing with him too much because just gonna get to a point that I'm reasonably satisfied. And there we go. Yeah. There we go. I am very happy about that guy now. A lot more contrast in them. Skulls stand out. They have some definition. Just a lot happier with them. I'm gonna let them dry and cull it, and that's glazing. That is the technique of glazing, is to give forethought to a paint plan. With him, I really wanted to not continue using my water cup as an ashtray. Ew, gross. So I don't use a respirator when I use my airbrush. I hate to admit this, but I smoke a lot. It doesn't bother me. Anyway, so that's the one thing with glazing, is to just to get in we're gonna get a slight amount of diatribic here for a second or two, not 1,000 minutes probably. Guys, there is, if you watch enough video of people painting and teaching how to paint, zenithal highlighting is not just something that was made up like I had originally thought. It is important. It is a form of light sketching on your primer. The thing is, you don't have to consider it. You don't have to keep thinking about it as just black primer, white highlighting. That guy, this fella, is a good example of glazing and highlighting. I sketched out my color values in with the airbrush in that yellow green. I didn't throw the white on it as just black and white to show the differences in colors. I thought about them I thought about them well ahead of time. The entirety of them ended up being, I'm sketching out the body, the chest cavity, and the humpback as the brightest spots in the yellow, so that I can go over it. That's zenithal highlighting. That's maybe not specifically that the light source is directly above. I don't care about that. But when it comes to glazing, you don't have to work in just black and white. You don't have to prime in black and then give it a light value in just the color white, in just the color gray. Use everything. If you have something that's going to complement as an underlayer, a base layer, if I wanted to increase the vibrancy, like yellow and blue, like yellow is the base color and then blue glazed on top of it. That yellow is going to shine through it. What the colors that, because the primary colors are the colors that show themselves, right?
Right. Primary colors are red, blue, and yellow.
Right.
They are colors that, in their purest form, you can't make.
Right.
So, yeah.
So if I based in yellow and came over it in a khaki or a tan, then that yellow is still gonna give its value through a thin layer of paint.
Yeah, it should.
Right. So the thing is that you don't have to think. Always consider zenithal highlighting after you've primed a mini. Always consider sketching in light values, but don't limit yourself to just black and white. You can take a simple paint plan where this guy, the yellow green that I based him in, I should have written down, always keep a paint journal. Even if you keep just a list next to you, if you happen to be working on an army that I'm working on right now, not even for a game, just for the fun of it, they look fun to paint. But always keep a thing, set of notes next to you so that you remember what bottles to grab and why. But you don't have to always consider black, white as the white's going to give it more. Yeah, white's going to add more light. It's going to add more highlighting from a base coat perspective, but you can do it otherwise. You can do it other ways and really add a lot more broad positives to your minis. You can definitely experiment with basing it entirely in priming black and then coming through and then sketching out color values in a super bright tan, and then coming back and painting a clockwork dragon just because I'm looking at him. You're painting cloth, coming back through and then coming over in a darker brown, so that tan is what's giving the light a little addition to it, and it just looks, it's more fun. It's more fun than just doing all that shit in black and white. Fuck around. This is supposed to be something that is experimented with and just have all the fun that you want with. Don't limit yourself to any kind of answer. There is no answer. There are only many paths to get to the end. The conclusion is always going to be there. The conclusion is the end. How you get there is going to be through picking up a lot of things, mixing them, figuring out how to get there, and going. That's it. So, all right. When he dries, I don't even think I'm going to wash him. I don't know why. I really like him like this. He's very pungent. He's very extreme. Like, you can see here in the center. His green show, like that magic aura is showing through, and the back that auburn shadow with the bone white, like really radiating. Yeah, he just more fun, more silly. He's a pile of bone and flesh, musculature. Yeah, he's fun as shit. These are fun to paint, by the way. So thank you sincerely for getting this for me. He's awesome to paint.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I doubt I'm even gonna. I don't think I'm gonna wash him. I think I'm gonna leave him just like that. Throw him on the table. Throw him at some weird character that you're playing. Yeah. Figure out what we're doing. Later.